What if we are closer to the return of Christ than most people realize? What if the timeline has been sitting in plain sight, hidden in history, astronomy, and scripture all along? And what if the year 33 AD, the most likely year of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, is the key that unlocks everything? Because if Jesus died and rose again in 33 AD, then 2033 would mark exactly 2,000 years since the most important event in human history. And if that's true, then we may already be standing at the doorstep of the final countdown. Why 33 AD? Let's start with the most important question. Why do so many scholars believe Jesus was crucified in 33 AD? There are several lines of evidence, biblical, historical, and astronomical, that all converge on this specific year. 1. Pontius Pilate and the Roman timeline. We know from history that Pontius Pilate governed Judea from 26 AD to 36 AD. The Gospels clearly state that Jesus was crucified under Pilate. That immediately narrows the window to a 10-year period. 2. The crucifixion happened on Passover. All four Gospels agree. Jesus was crucified during Passover. Passover always occurs on the 14th of Nisan in the Jewish calendar, which is tied to the lunar cycle. This is critical because it allows us to use astronomy to pinpoint possible dates. 3. The day must be a Friday. The Gospels also tell us Jesus was crucified on a Friday, the preparation day, and rose on Sunday. So now we're looking for a year between 26 to 36 AD, and where Passover falls on a Friday. There are only a couple of candidates: 30 AD and 33 AD. 4. The astronomical evidence. Here's where things get fascinating. Astronomers have reconstructed ancient lunar calendars, and they confirm that in 30 AD, Passover could have fallen on Friday, and in 33 AD, Passover definitely fell on Friday, April 3rd. But something else happened in 33 AD. 5. The lunar eclipse, blood moon. On April 3rd, 33 AD, there was a partial lunar eclipse visible in Jerusalem. This is incredibly significant because of what's written in Acts 2 verse 20. The sun shall be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood. Some scholars believe this corresponds directly to the events surrounding the crucifixion. Even ancient historians noted unusual darkness during that time. 6. The ministry timeline of Jesus. According to the Gospel of John, Jesus' ministry spanned at least 3 Passovers. That suggests a ministry of roughly 3 to 3.5 years. Now combine that with John the Baptist beginning his ministry around 28 to 29 AD, and Jesus starting shortly afterward. That places the crucifixion naturally around 33 AD. So why not 30 AD? Some scholars argue for 30 AD, but it has problems. The ministry timeline becomes too short. It doesn't align as cleanly with historical markers, and the astronomical evidence is weaker. 33 AD simply fits more pieces of the puzzle. Now we shift from history to something deeper, a pattern many theologians have noticed. God often works in 2,000-year epochs. Consider this. From Adam to Abraham was approximately 2,000 years. From Abraham to Christ was approximately 2,000 years. From Christ to now, we are approaching 2,000 years. This raises a provocative idea. Are we nearing the end of a third 2,000-year period? A day is like 1,000 years. In 2 Peter 3 verse 8, with the Lord one day is as 1,000 years. Some interpret this as a prophetic framework. 6,000 years of human history, followed by a 1,000-year reign, millennium. If that's the case, we may be nearing the transition point. If Jesus died in 33 AD, then 2033 is exactly 2,000 years since the crucifixion and resurrection. That number is symbolically powerful. It represents redemption, completion, and a full cycle. This has led some to speculate. Could 2033 mark the return of Christ in the second coming? Now we connect this to the idea of the tribulation. The Bible describes a 7-year period of unprecedented turmoil, often linked to the book of Daniel and Revelation. This comes from Daniel's 70th week prophecy, Daniel 9 verse 27. If 2033 is the second coming, then subtract 7 years and we arrive at 2026. This leads to a hypothesis. 2026 could mark the beginning of the tribulation. But here's the critical warning. Before jumping to conclusions, we need to be very clear. Jesus himself said, "No one knows the day or the hour." That means any specific date is speculative. And timelines like this are theoretical frameworks, not guarantees. History is filled with failed predictions. So this is not about setting dates. It's about recognizing patterns and possibilities. But even if the exact timing is uncertain, this line of reasoning highlights something important. We may be living in a uniquely significant window of history. And regardless of whether it's 2026, 2033, or beyond, the message of the gospel doesn't change. Be ready, be watchful, and live with purpose. The convergence of the historical evidence pointing to 33 AD, the symbolic significance of 2,000 years, and the prophetic framework of a 7-year tribulation creates a timeline that is, at the very least, worth paying attention to, not with fear, but with awareness. Until next time, stay watchful, stay grounded, and stay ready.